What made you keep going back?
Because I had friends there. I'd made friends in the
Community.
gym. And Brendan was my wealth, and I say it to this day, is the family stability. Family.
Yes. Yeah.
Not money. I never wanted to be, driving a big Rolls Royce or flying a private jets. My wealth is money.
Yeah.
My wealth is family. And so in our household, I was a proper mummy's boy. No shame about that. I was a proper mummy's boy. So with me being a mummy's boy, I didn't want to do anything. Didn't want to work. Didn't want to go anywhere. I just wanted to stay at home.
Yeah.
And when I went to the gym, I came across another community that I thought, I like here. I like Brendan because he talks to me.
Yeah.
And he tells me stuff. And he makes me think. And I met the lads in the gym, and we're all in the gym. I just didn't want to box. They didn't tell me I was rubbish behind my back. They'd say, you are crap. You can't fight. You're no good. Wow. So I was used to the negativity. I was used to it. So to get wisdom, you've got to get experiences.
Yes. Yeah.
So I was a professional in losing. I was experiencing abuse because everybody said, God, you can't do it. You're a coward. Because of how I boxed, I'd grab, I'd hold, I'd run. I actually believed it for many, many years. The only person that was telling me, Johnny, was Brendan. But he understood it was a long, drawn-out process for me to learn and understand who I am and grow up.
The fascinating thing about everything you've said is that obviously you'll see it all the time on social media, trust the process. And when you're in the midst of some sort of pain or loss, whatever it is, it can feel permanent and it can feel never-ending. And actually, I'm pretty sure that for those 13 years that you were losing, it felt permanent. And it felt like, I would imagine there was a lot of questions about self and identity. And we carry that in our body and in our mind. So because you were doing a very physical sport and because you were around this guy who ultimately was servicing your mind, there must have been quite a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Contradiction, because your body is going to keep the score in terms of self-esteem and self-identity. I'm a loser. And then Brendan's there trying to remind you that you're not what you feel.
And that's what kept me in the gym.
Yeah.
Now I can say, when you start part A, you want to get to part Z, you've got to go through everything else to get there. So people see the end result and don't understand the journey is as important as the destination.
Yeah.
The journey makes up how long you're going to be at that end destination.
Yeah.
So how hard or how easy that journey is makes you appreciate or not appreciate get to the end. So those 13 years of ups and downs where I'm thinking, why am I doing this? But then I've got somebody saying, stick at it, listen to me, you can do this, you can do that. I'm like, Pop, I'm struggling, I'm not earning any money, I'm getting pure negativity and everything, I'm losing and I just, it was so conflicting. But I had this guy on my case, kept tugging me, reminding me of the positives. He reminded me of the failure was actually a positive because you'll learn.
So true.
The failure was a positive. The failure was a good thing, you'll learn. I can remember being in the gym and they said, I want you to start doing some weights. In boxing, you don't do weights because it makes you all big and stiff. And he said, and he's going to tell you, and he's going to tell you, and he's going to tell you to not do the weights. It's going to make you stiff. He said, but when they do that, it means you're giving them a hard time. So when they said that, take that as a compliment. Within about 4 weeks, to a T, I was in the gym, and these two, they were at the highest standard in the gym. They were like the top dogs in the gym, sat down either side of me. Why are you doing weights, Johnny? And so I kind of smiled to myself, thinking, oh my God, Benson. This is me, a graduate. I've got to yes. Brendan's just said, just have a go, just how you feel. He said, it's going to make you stiff and slow you down, don't you? Oh, well, maybe, probably, yeah. They're saying, yeah, you don't want to be doing that. And I went, all right then. And they went, Brendan, I went, Bren, you're right. They've come and said this. He went, you carry on doing what you're doing.
Wow.
He had everybody down to a T. Our gym, they talk about multiculturalism. And it's a popular word now. Our gym was multicultural 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
all shapes and sizes, black, white, male, female, able, disabled, in our gym.
Wow.
And Brendan was the only person, the only circus master that could manage such an environment. People didn't get it.
I feel like, and I don't know if you believe this, but I feel like, and it's a weird thing because I think the last time we met, we spoke a lot about death actually, which is, you know, important. And I think some people are born to meet each other, you know, like I'm sure, you know, his children and his wife and the people around him would say that he was born for them and all of that. But there's this, like I said, this resonance with you two that it almost, even though you're talking really articulately and explaining the relationship really well, it almost still doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. I totally believe in, believe what you just said. I think there's always somebody for somebody at some point in your life, in this world. And regardless if you believe in God or not, regardless of where your mind's at in regards to that, Brendan came from Ringsend in Dublin.
Yeah.
And ended up in Sheffield.
Yeah.
And the other side of Sheffield to where I lived. It took me 2 buses to get there.
Yeah.
I went to our gym by mistake just to follow my bigger brother.
Wow.
And so all of a sudden I see this little Irishman to come to this country, 68 million people in this country, come to this country, to my city.
Yeah.
And I found him.
Yeah.
I found him.
Yeah.
And I'd actually crossed paths with him before because I was in the city centre and he was doing a boxing exhibition where he took some of his fighters out in the street and he'd make them body spar with each other. And he'd great at getting an audience. He'd say, right, because black, Asian, everything, he said, he'd go to the crowd and say, right, I'm going to give you a chance to hit a black man.
Wow.
Who wants to hit a black man? And was like, Brendan would be cancelled today if we still
Yeah, of course.
And he'd say, you can hit them and you won't get in trouble and they can't hit you back. Remember, who's going to put the hand up? And I was in the crowd watching, thinking, wow. And so there was a guy called Harold Palmer Graham. He was a magician. He stood there and like, this guy came out slinging punches. Harold had his hands down his side and he was slipping, talking to him. Punches are going. I think I could do him. So I put my hand up. Let me have a go. And Brendan called me out and he said, and this before I knew Brendan. And he said, have a go. I couldn't hit Harold with a bag of rice.
Wow.
And I thought, wow. And Brendan was really good at bringing boxing to the community.
Yeah.
And getting the attention of people like me thinking, oh yeah, you know, getting my attention. And so meeting Brendan, I don't think it was fluke.
No.
I don't think it was fluke. My mum came from Jamaica. She ended up in Sheffield. She came by herself.
Wow.
She ended up in Sheffield. And so you look at that. You look at the line of where she's come from and then gets to Sheffield. And I grow up and I meet Brendan. We were poor.
Yeah.
We had nothing.
Yeah.
And so I just think those stars are aligning slowly, surely somehow to the point where you cross paths, you lock in, you find your person, and then you'll move on. You might find your other person. That's in love, that's in life, that's in relationships, that's in family, that's in everything.
Yeah.
And I truly believe in that to this day.
Yeah.
And so I think, you know what, maybe in the next life or the life after that, we'll see that and understand that. And it depends on where you are in your life and how you look at life today. I think there's a reason for everything.
Me too.
And I remember winning the world title, and I just went into a rant. God knows where it came from. I didn't even rehearse it. And I was at ringside, and they put the microphone in front of me, and I said, "I'm a product of the gym. I am the gym. I had entered the gym with no natural talent, raw ability, or anything. I am a product of the gym. I am the gym." Brendan sat behind me.
Wow.
And it just, boom, fell out my mouth. I'm like, God, where'd that come from? We've been here before.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, we might have been different forms. We've been here before. And people have got to understand and believe in that gut instinct. That's something that's telling you, saying, nah, that's mad. You can't say that in public. I'm comfortable in doing that now.
Yeah.
That's my personal belief. You know, and maybe I was a fighter in a past life. I don't know. But we're here. It's a lesson in life. Mm-hmm. And we don't know that lesson until we reach the end of our life.
True.
You look back and think, what time have I wasted? I'm quite sure you've got many people we've all done it at some point. You look at an old picture of yourself 10, 15 years ago. And at that time, that self there thought, God, I look fat. I look this, that, and the other. Now you look at that picture and think, wow, I look good there. We don't actually realise where we are in life until we're no longer there.
True. And that inability to be present and that inability to accept where you're at and what that means for you moving forward, to just be there. I think the accountability mirror is really important as well, is to be accountable for every moment and not blame other people and not look too far forward and not look too far back. It's really hard to do that though, because most of us have been taught a reward system. So we're always striving for something ahead, which is not a problem. I think, looking at your story, that was really important that you continue to strive. But to also, and this is what Brendan was doing with you, I think he was keeping you very grounded and rooted in the present at the same time, with the wisdom and the knowledge and that support and that love and that resonance that you shared. But you're right. And I think what you've just said is so important. That's why I said it's not really about boxing, because there's a lot of people that I work with in my job and that follow me on my Instagram and various socials. And I know because they message me and they are lost. They feel like they're on their own. They feel hurt by the people around them. They feel like there's nobody there for them. And what you've said is what I always say as well. There is your person somewhere, but you've got to, and you've said this yourself today, you've got to be open to that. You've got to come out of the container that is the world that you've created and be accountable for that and be brave enough to stand where there's nothing to support you for a while, but believe in the process, believe there is someone there for you, because it's that belief that changes the energy, electromagnetic waves, that draws other people that are within that resonance to you, which is you and Brendan.
We all need a Brendan.
We definitely all do.
And I say that Brendan can be a friend, a parent, a brother, sister, complete stranger and a professional. And if we're courageous enough to find that Brendan, then that's when the real true journey starts. Some people are happy just not to have a Brendan. And so
that's because they don't know.
They don't know. And so they want to stay in that insular existence, and because they can control that little bubble they're in.
Yeah, it is about control.
But then after anything that's abnormal happens, they think, oh my God, how am I going to deal with this?
Yeah.
The opposite to fear is faith.
Yeah. You got that on your arm. I saw that.
And faith to me, it doesn't have to be a religious thing.
No.
If you're not religious, I'm not trying to ram it down your throat.
No.
Faith is belief.
Yeah.
Believing in something you can't put your finger on. Believing in something you can't see, you can't explain, you can't put words to. Belief is believing in that.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Believing in it. It's self-validation. As we started, I spoke about self-validation, believing in oneself.
Yeah.
And I understand that your strength is within you.
Yeah.
Once you believe in you and you truly believe in you and take away all the trapdoors, the trapdoor is a get-out clause, the excuse for failure. I call it a trapdoor. So you take away all the excuses by making sure you do everything expected, so there are no trapdoors. You may fail once, you may fail again, but you'll learn from each failure as you will success.
Yeah.
And when you've got no excuse, no trapdoor, you'll think, why shouldn't I do this? Why should I be able to do this? Because we, unfortunately, are in a society where we feel uncomfortable actually admitting, I'm good at this.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Because people think you're bigger or you're arrogant or who do you think you are?
Yeah.
If you're good at something, we've all got a special.
Yeah.
We all have a special about us, but we all don't find it.